Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the WGLNA Silver League Finals. Tonight, we are going to be bringing you Clueless versus Ding NA. Both of these teams have made it all the way through the Silver League this season, finishing in the top 8. They've gone through 2 rounds of playoffs already and are going into the finals match right now with 60,000 gold per player, Type 59s on the line, on top of just bragging rights and being the winner of the WGLNA Silver League. Both these teams have already been promoted into the Gold League for the coming season, so you guys will be seeing a lot more of them here in a couple months, competing against the likes of Simp and High Voltage and Noble and all the other great teams. So it should be a really good time. That being said, right now we're going to bring you a couple player interviews. We're going to bring you an interview with Tiger Loves Pepper of Clueless, and then we are going to bring you the captain interviews until the matches start in about 15 minutes. So that being said, Tiger Loves Pepper, how you doing?
Hey, Rockstar, I'm doing pretty well.
Hey, so why don't you go ahead and just tell us about yourself? Your background, how you got into gaming and esports in general.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been playing this game for a few years now. I was always more involved in the Clan Wars side. I used to be in Scrubs United before it kind of died. And then I used to be in Relic Second way back in the day. So shout out to my good friends in Relic Second. And then I joined Otter about the second day it formed. And I've been pretty involved in their Clan Wars in various aspects between calling and just playing over the last like year and a half, 2 years. Especially the last 6 months ago, I started picking up calling more and more, uh, the clan invitational and various parts of the clan league. So that's kind of my background. And then in terms of transitioning from that into the Silver League, I noticed the changes to the Silver League and I really liked them. I liked the fact that it was more dynamic, and I particularly liked the casting this season with Nagatron. So I figured it was a good opportunity for me to kind of get into the Gold League. And I kind of wanted to get some experience with silver before I did that because I want to get in over my head. And so I was looking at the forums this summer and I saw that Clueless was looking for a couple people to join their team. That's how T1 Diabetic joined the team as well. And then I applied a few days before the August 20th roster change deadline, did some scrims with the guys and seemed like a good fit. So I went ahead and joined the team. So that's how I kind of got into the Silver League. I basically was motivated by the changes and how Wargamings was doing the like league in terms of the format and the casting. So I kind of wanted to transition from Clan Wars over to the league. It seemed a little bit more interesting.
On, Madam Miss, I believe you have a question for.
So what's been your most, or okay, first of all, what, how do you feel now that you've got your season of experience in the Silver League, and now that you're going to the Gold League, what's going through your mind, now that you're about to take that next step?
I mean, in one word, I'd say hype 59 all day, but like to the max because I already have a Type 59, so forget that. I'm just really excited to be in the Gold League because I think it's going to be competitive and dynamic, and I really like where the playstyle is progressed from 742 steer point format. I think the calling has become a lot more skill based and it's become a lot more aggressive, and I like that. So I'm very excited to be a part of it, basically. And I think that it was nice, kind of joining midway through towards the end of Silver League too, because I didn't want to get burned out and I didn't want to deal with a lot of the silver teams. I honestly like the really high level of competition. Obviously, the Silver League is great, but Gold League is a step up, so I'm really glad to be a part of that now.
Right on. So take us through the that tiebreaker you guys went through on Ghost Town.
Oh man,
That had to have been
I kind of don't
stressful.
want to. I don't really want to go back. Do you want me to just talk about the last match or the whole
Yeah,
set?
you can talk about the whole set if you want, or if you just want to go over that last match. I mean, we've been involved in tiebreakers.
Yeah.
I know how it is as a player.
That
I can
was
only imagine.
Yeah, it was nerve wracking. I mean, that was my first real high profile league match because it was going to determine if we made gold or not. I mean, in some ways, it was obviously a lot more important than this match because it actually determines who's making money next season and who has to face the chance of being um, forced to play against the relegation teams, which obviously are scary. Despite the fact that they obviously weren't the top gold league teams, they're still gold league, and that's a scary prospect. So we were really focused on trying to win those matches. In terms of actually how they progressed, Definitely a couple throws from us. I'm sure Kalki talked about it a little bit on Monday night. I mean, that's all I say. I mean, the Mines matches for us particularly were really rough. Lakeville, I'm not too distraught about because Lakeville attack is particularly difficult, and I was glad how we pulled it back. But the Mines matches were definitely disappointing for us, so that's something we're going to work on. And then in terms of the tiebreak, we just knew that we'd be set up in good positions in those spots, and I think me and T1 did a pretty good job getting our clips off in the 5100s, and their attack seemed a little bit too split. I don't know why they were coming in at those different times, but I think that kind of gave us an opportunity to get our 5100s involved, which is why we ended up ultimately winning. I mean, that one cap is strong, so if you can get 5100s that are covering it, and they're forced to push into 5100s, and the 5100s get the first shots, it's generally problematic.
Right on.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a tight match, but I'm glad we pulled it out.
Yeah, I bet. No. Madamus, any final questions for Tiger before we let him get out here and get prepped for the match?
Yeah. Just what for you? What has been like what has been the highlight or the most interesting moment that you've had playing in the Silver League this season?
I mean, the semifinal matches definitely, just because it was so up and down, and we ended up coming back down 3 games. So down 2 games, we'd have to win 3 in a row. So that was definitely nerve-wracking. But I think at one point when we were down 4-2, it was almost our low of the season. But then 3 games later, that was like the high of our season. So it was kind of a roller coaster, and that was definitely my favorite part, just winning that Ghost Town match.
Right on. All right, Tiger, thank you for your time. You guys got about 10 minutes or so until your match starts, so we'll let you get out of here. So thank you for your time.
Thanks, Ruster. Good luck to everyone playing tonight.
Right on. All right, everybody. Before we get into the captain interviews, let me just do quick introductions if you didn't already figure it out. I am Rockstar of Danger Close. Bringing you as your cameraman tonight will be Rev, also of Danger Close. And then in our booth, as you could say, we have Madamus and E. Pepper from the Lincoln Brigade. Guys, hi guys.
Hey.
Hello. Yep, so I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty stoked to be bringing this matchup. Watching these teams over the last week or so, plus just playing them during the regular Silver League season, there was a lot of very close matches, and I think this matchup could potentially end in a tiebreaker as well. So, Conky. We have Conky from Clueless out there, I believe it is. And we have Romstar here, who appears to be AFK, so give us a second while we wake him up. While we go ahead and do that, we're going to go ahead and start off questions with Conky. So, Conky, Clueless, obviously you guys coming from behind in that semifinal match last week. We already heard Pepper's side of it. How did you feel, as a captain, as a player going through that match?
Well, kind of Tiger summed it up. One weird thing I did do is all my guys were kind of being like, "Oh, sweet, we won, yay!" And I just kind of left and went for a run because I was so excited. It was like 1:30 at night or 12:30, something like that.
Right on. Thank you for joining us, Romstar. Yeah, so you just had all the adrenaline going through you, so you just decided to get out there, take the run. I've done that before.
Yeah, went for a run, got a slice of pizza, went back to my apartment. It was joyful, nice cool breeze.
Right on. So Romstar. So obviously, Ding taking it to that overtime winner. How was that for you and your team? We've already talked to Clueless about how that felt for them. How was it coming? Not only winning it in overtime, but knowing that you'd been promoted to Gold League. What went through your head? How was your team speak? How did all your guys react?
It was pretty exciting for the most part. I mean, I was so freaking tired. I just went to sleep. I mean, it's still exciting. So it's good to know that we're already in there. We've been working at this for quite a while, the past couple of seasons between Bronze League and Silver League coming up all this way. So it's actually very good for most of us, for most all of us, I should say. A win on the. I don't know if you guys saw my stats personally after the battle on the freaking tiebreaker. That was pretty disgraceful, I would say. But we did do, in my mind, kind of a good role. The Tigers, we ate a lot of the shots from the 5100 and the the T32 they were sitting up there, giving the chance for the IS3s, and we're actually poking at the other IS3s. So our IS3s they were capping out, they were able to actually do damage while capping. So that was actually worked out towards our benefit because the other teammates pulled it through for us, even though we didn't do our part. But originally, should have never let. He should have never let to the tiebreak. We should have won the last match on the steps. But what happened was after it was actually personally my mistake on my part because I made the decision on my own, and I got off the high ground, and without the high ground advantage, and without the actual early warnings, because by the time we were sitting on the ridge shooting towards cap, if I was still on the high ground all the way on the red line over there, it would actually give us a little bit earlier warning, and they wouldn't be able to just 5 tanks come in and wipe us out like they did.
Yeah, no, that was really exciting to watch. Just a slight slip in vision control there, unfortunately, and Q's a team that definitely can dominate on that. It was, as unfortunate it was for you guys, it was pretty fun to watch. But that's part of being a tanks player. Learn from mistakes, adjusting from it and moving forward, and hopefully that's experience they'll carry with you in the Gold League. So use that there. I'll be watching you guys there. All right, Clueless, Conky. So tonight, you obviously played Ding during the regular season. So is there anything in particular that you're looking for? Excited for the matchup tonight? What do you think the outcome's going to be? Put you on the spot there.
I hope it's a good game, and it should be.
Right on, Romstar. What do you think scoreline for tonight's going to be? You think you take Clueless?
If you're sitting in the training room, and if nothing changes in the next few minutes, I doubt it.
All right. Oh, this will be.
But we're gonna give it our best.
This will be interesting for sure. All right. So that being said, Conky, you have anything for Ding?
Good luck, have fun.
Right on, Rom.
You too. See you in the Gold League for sure.
Yeah, see you in the Gold League.
Right on. Alrighty, guys. So, Manamus, what do you think tonight's going to bring? Obviously, we have our maps of. We are starting off on Mines, and then we're going to be going on to Ghost Town. Obviously, we've seen these teams on both these maps for the last couple weeks. What are you predicting the scoreline to be?
To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I think there's going to be a lot of things that we've seen from both sides here are just things that I wouldn't expect happening. For example, I want to just quickly go over what happened during the map selection, since it is a very important process of playing these playoff matches or any official match. And what ended up happening during them, so as Rockstar just said, we're starting on Mines with Ding on the defense, Clueless on the attack, and then Ghost Town with Clueless on the defense and Ding on the attack. But what's more interesting is that Clueless elected to play Mines first out of those two maps. So when Himmelsdorf Steps, Ruinberg, and Lakeville were all banned, Clueless went ahead and said that they're going to play Mines first, which is, I'm not entirely sure whether or not that should work out in their favor, given that they did lose 3 of their games out of the 4 against Googly Bobbers last night on Mines. On the same time, I also want to highlight the 2 map picks, bans on each side. Ding banned Himmelsdorf and Steps, while Clueless banned Ruinberg and Lakeville. And it's very surprising to me to see Ding ban Himmelsdorf, given that they are a very strong team, much stronger at city maps than on open maps.
Right. That being said, we saw the Mines pick doesn't really surprise me out of Clueless. I've seen him on a couple of times now, including during the quarterfinals matchup. And while they ended up winning that match versus Get Flanked, they started off real shaky and they let Get Flanked claw into that and put it on a 4-3. So that if they had lost that round, they would have gone to OT, and who knows, we may be looking at Get Flanked right now. So it was a very entertaining match. But I hope they took some time to look at their mind strats and tweak things for tonight. That being said, we brought, me and Rev brought you guys the Ding versus Hugh match, and that one obviously ended on Ghost Town. So we've seen a little bit snippet of what Ding can do on Ghost Town, and obviously they won that match, made it to the Gold League just based off that one round on Ghost Town, and very aggressive play, very in your face. As I said before, they like to brawl. So I'm really excited to see that because in my experience with Clueless as well, they are great in a brawl. In fact, running ranked team battles last night, we ran into a couple times with them, and had some very good brawls on Himmelsdorf. So I think these teams are going to be pretty evenly matched. Spoiler alert: it looks like Ding are only going to be bringing 6 players for the night, so 4 players unable to show up apparently. Looks like one of them may show up late, but for right now, they're going to play with 6, and they're starting tank picks. So that being said, Matt, scoreline. Where's your prediction? Exact rounds.
I'm just looking at. So first of all, I'm going to assume that Ding probably loses this first one just simply because they only have 6 players, and that's going to be instant loss on them. I think it'll be, even with that, I think it'll be a 5-4 win for Ding. I'm looking at mines, like I mentioned, Clueless was pretty weak on mines against Googly Bobbers last night. I know historically Ding is also, that mines is not their strongest map. But when it comes to Ghost Town and Himmelsdorf, so the second map and then the tiebreaker, so I'm expecting mines to split 2-2 between the two teams, and then Ghost Town, I'm expecting perhaps also 2-2, maybe. Ding will win 3 on there, but they'll lose an extra one on mine simply because they only have 6 players right now. Because Ding is such a great city map tank, and then Himmelsdorf I think should go to Ding, but that's just my prediction. 5-4 in favor of Ding. After dropping this first map because they only have 6 players, or this first match.
For me, it's totally going to depend upon whether they get a full team. If they only bring 6, this is probably going to be a landslide for Clueless. So their team that I think, that given an advantage like that, they will exploit it and they will pound Ding into the ground.
Definitely.
I would give it like a 5-1 to Clueless. If, however, they show up with a second or a 7th player, I think they can bring it back. Looks like we're going to get underway here just a moment, folks. So no more waiting. And we are in battle. Madamus, why don't you go ahead and go over tank lineups for us?
Alright, sure. So, on the side of Ding, who only has 6 players at the moment, we have 2 IS-3s, 4 T-54 lightweights. On the side of Clueless, with all 7 players, 2 IS-3s, an Object 416, 354 lightweights, and a T-37.
Very interesting. The 416 on offense. You think that's going to scream one-line play, or do you think they're going to set them back at A4 and use them to guard the backfield?
I think it's going to be A4 first. Although because they have the 3 lightweights as well, they can test the opening, but it looks like that's not what's happening right now.
Yeah,
so
guys.
Roxy, you want to go for it?
Yeah, Ding taken to the hill right now. All 4 of their lightweights are coming up here in a giant line getting up to there. They're all stopping, looking for tanks, and they're all kind of surprised, wondering what to do because Clueless are not challenging this hill, or just giving it to them. IS-3 is not even getting a shot off. The IS-3 Honey Badger is moving down the 2 line though, and about to get on cap. Ding are just spurting out over this hill right now. They're trying to get vision, trying to figure out where they are. The T-54 Tyrell's Pepper has moved all the way down the 1 line behind the rock there. He's going to open up shots, probably find something on Stitch here, or Romstar might get some shots off. Honey Badger City on cap. Baby Dragon in the 416 is actually over at E1, lining up some shots, trying to bait the cap. So, Clueless know they have the tank advantage. They're just going for the cap. They're trying to force this because they know that if they can start chewing into HP, dictating this play to Ding, they're going to have the advantage. Without that tank advantage, I don't necessarily think that Clueless would be going for this right off the bat. It's pretty aggressive. That being said, there's no panic reaction out of Ding right now. They're taking their time, getting guns into multiple places, spreading apart. They've let their IS-3s on the hill because they know Carl's there. They're trying to bait him up because they can get that overmatch, and they need to grab a tank easily to be able to get into this fight. 40 ticks down on the clock, so we got about another 45 seconds till this is capped out. I would expect to see a second tank for Clueless jump on cap here. And Stitch is going for a reset. He's peeking, but decides to back off. Takes the shell from the 416, but the heat shell doesn't pen. 254 is in the south end, taking fire from Honey Badger. Stitch getting absolutely lit up and focused. He's down to a one-shot. Clueless just making them come in here, and Ding are not getting what they need. They need to get a tank down for free. They need to get some resets. They need this round to be really long and drawn out. A quick round like this is always going to go in favor of Clueless with that extra tank.
And Romstar and Gordon Freeman too in the south, just bouncing. That's their first connection right there, Honey Badger. They should have been resetting way sooner.
They got that reset, so it's back down to 10. But the second IS-3 of, I can't even tell who that is.
Carl.
Looks like Carl. Carl has jumped onto the cap right now. They need to start getting a tank down. It looks like one of the IS-3s and a lightweight out of Ding have gone north. I don't think they realize that T-37 of Hoffer is up there. So I would not be surprised if we see go get him off this here. He's taken one shot already, so he's only a matter. But their Stitch is already banged up to a one shot. It's not the starter they need, and their tank, the T-54 lightweight's a Ding in the south. They're just getting banged up right now. You got 640 HP on Mr. Gordon Freeman and 738 out of Romstar. Not doing what they need. The cap's at 63, 64. Two tanks on there. Probably about another 20 seconds left on that timer. They need to hurry up and get a reset. Flash and taking a PK deciding to back off. An HE shell coming in, and Honey Badger getting a partial reset, but they need to hit Carl. He still has all the cap points. Cap back to 60 already. Flash had taken a beating, eating two shells, and the HE shell comes into Carl and gets the reset back down to 0. They've almost gotten Hoffer down. He's down to 56 HP. Taking another couple shots here. He's down to 900. Ding doing a good job at just drawing this map out. Clueless aren't being decisive. Ding realized if they play this slowly, they can still get this out. I think at this point, Clueless need to be grouping up and getting ready to push one of these weak flanks. I don't think they can cap out right now. Only 3 minutes left on the timer. I think they'll make a move soon, but I don't know. The shot's still being traded across the board. Cap got reset again, but that's only because Carl backed off. He's heading to the north. He knows the overmatch is up there. But now he's hesitating. He's coming back to cap. Ding are doing a very good job being a man down here. Despite taking the early damage, they're making sure they can't get the cap. They're making it really hard for Clueless to pick a direction and push. Romstar taking another shot. He's down to 500. Now Stitch joins them, so they got 3 very low HP lightweights down in the south, but they're covered by the IS-3s and another lightweight in the middle. So, pretty smart. Go for it.
Clueless moving up the north side with 3 light tanks and their T-37 trying to overmatch TAC and the Dendy, while the rest of just taking advantage of the fact that Ding is a man down and that they are split at the moment.
Yeah, but it's a 4-on-1 here, and it's just down to deny. Shot coming in, taking out that T-37. Flashing, trying to help out his buddy here. One of these tanks is a one-shotter, but he's not going to get him down. Flashing's trying to back off. The cap's already up to 80. This is the perfect distraction. The T-54s didn't have lights on cap. They aren't able to get a reset. Cap's up to 90. Ding need a reset. 94. 97. No reset. It's 100. First round goes to Clueless. So, pretty predictable stuff there with Ding being a tank down. I think they did a really good job early at stretching that map out, but I think they just gave up too much HP to be able to sustain it. And keep in mind, they're already starting down by a couple hundred HP, down to tier 6. So you could say 600 to 700 HP down. So it's 2 shots of damage that Clueless plus just the vision alone, which is you cannot underestimate vision control on any map in League. You know, and I think that's part of the problem there is they didn't have good eyes on that 1-2 line. They couldn't control the north, and so they, you know, Ding just got overmatched, and there wasn't anything they could do about it. Going over stats here, Madamus, why don't you go ahead and break those down for us?
All right, I mean, pretty self-explanatory. Flashing on the side of Ding, the only one over 1,000 damage. Everyone else just getting basically focus fired by the 54 and 416 wolf pack that eventually descended on them. And you can see on the right side too, those 54 lightweights and the 416 just doing the most amount of damage on the side of Clueless. I think what's most interesting, or I think one of the things that we do need to point out about this game though is that even though Ding was a man down, I think had they had that extra tier 6, I think it would have definitely gone to them. They were able to hold, if you, Rockstar, I don't know if you agree with this, but they were holding in the south relatively okay for most of the game. The only reason why they had to flex 2 IS3s up to the north side was simply because they didn't have the vision on the north side, because they were getting good enough resets from the 54 lightweights in the south.
Yeah, I agree to an extent. I think the biggest thing about Ding's setup there was the middle guns of the IS3s could cover the south guns of those lightweights, and those lightweights were the ones getting the cap resets. So that coverage was fine. Clueless figured out the key, though, was that those south lightweights could not cover those middle IS3s, and they knew they didn't have that tier 6 for lights, so they stacked as many tanks down there as they could without giving it away, and they got in there, and they created that overmatch like you called out in game. And I think that was the key there, because the second one they pushed, it was only, you know, it was a 2-on-4 essentially, or 3-on-4 to start, but that lightweight didn't last long. You know, if Clueless had tried to push down south, they would have had to deal with all 3 of the lightweights plus all 3 of the tanks in the middle, because they have that crossfire there. So Clueless being very smart and backing out and going around the long way. So, you know, definitely in favor of Clueless there. Very smart play. You know, with a T-37 there, they could have sent that T-37 up to go, or another tier 6 to deal with that one-shot or T-37, and they could have left their own T-37 up there for the vision, and they could have moved their tanks down south, and they wouldn't have had to separate their guns so much. So
I was going
great.
to say that being a man down, looking at the positions of Ding, I don't think the best choice is to invest anyone up in the north. I think they should have sent a lightweight. I mean, once you take the hill, what are you going to do a man down? You need to have vision on the 2 cap. So why not have a lightweight at H3 in the bush where you normally see a 12T just playing the hold down game? And then maybe have someone up on the hill watching the north just in case they push up. But you need to keep your group together and focus on cap number 2, because you need to get vision of cap number 2 without getting killed from the 1 line.
All right, well, we're starting into battle number 2. Matt, go ahead and break down the lineups.
All right, on the side of Ding, again, still a man down, 2 IS3s, 454 lightweights, same lineup that they had last time. This time, Clueless switching up a little bit, going 2 IS3s, 454 lightweights, and a single T-37, dropping that 416.
All right, so you thinking the same plays out of both teams, or you think they're going to change it up?
I mean, Clueless could theoretically do the same thing. They know that Ding doesn't have a good counter to them, especially since they are a man down. I personally think that switching the 416 out for another 54 lightweight is a good choice, given that I think 416 is
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you here real quick. It looks like we're going to have a brawl for this hill going off. Both teams going towards the hill, but Clueless taking it just short, queuing up the shots onto Ding. Ding pushing onto the hill. Gordon Freeman getting focused down to 700, 500, taking a ton of damage at the cost of that hill. The rest of the lightweights pausing off. The biggest thing I noticed was that Clueless dropped the 416 and they went to another lightweight. That automatically made me scream that they were going to the hill. Gordon Freeman down to a one-shot. Honey Badger looking for it, but can't find it, looking south. The rest of the tanks of Clueless just hanging back, looking for the shots. Finding the shots on the flash and more shots on the stitch. Gordon Freeman coming around to the north end of that hill, trying to find side shots, but he's a one-shotter, so he needs to be real careful right now. You know, only one connection. That lightweight, not exactly the best hold-down tank, with all those guns sitting there staring down. Honey Badger just trying to hold off the hill. Tigerless Pepper queuing in. Ding just taking too much damage right now. Clueless keeping it real tight. Baby Dragon down to a 2-shot. More shots going out onto Drock there. Gordon Freeman just being a pain in their side right now. They haven't been able to find a connection shot on him and just needs to be careful. Looks like Romstar's breaking away to go get this tier 6. Now they need to be careful because Clueless may recognize this as an overmatch and decide to push right now because they know Romstar's out of the fight. The shots.
You can see them moving now. You can see them moving now. They're all moving up.
Ding are all moving up. Here comes the push. They're probably going to send one person to get Freeman and the rest focus down. Honey Badger getting to that rock there. The T1 Diabetic and Doc both getting focused down to 500. Doc down to a one shot at 290. 2-1 in favor of Clueless, only losing their tier 6 while Ding are down 2 of their tier 8s. Denai's getting focused in that IS-3s down to 620. 2-1 Diabetic going to the south end of the hill, trying to open up additional shots from down there now. And this battle is flipped in favor of Clueless. Clueless just doing what they can, or not Clueless, but Ding just doing what they can, trying to trade here, but it's not working out. Their IS-3s are low. All these tanks of Clueless are just spreading out, trying to find different angles. If you notice, they're not all in one angle. They're all spread out, opening up different angles and different tanks, and it's only a matter of 10 or 20 seconds here till this round's over. I'm expecting to see that IS-3 of Carl and Baby Dragon here push up and eat the shells, get that first IS-3 down. Baby Dragon going down, but Carl taking the time, lining up that shot into their IS-3, and we're down to 5-3. One of these shots of Flash is a one shot. 2-1 Diabetic looking for a shot. And Stitch goes down for 400. High roll out of that IS-3 there. Great shot. A little bit lucky. Carl closing in is going to take out Flashing. But Ronstar finding the shot on 2-1 Diabetic, and it's all down to him. 1 versus 4. None of these shots are one-shotter, except for Doc in the back. Carl's going to just bulldog him around this corner, get in his face with that IS-3. Tiger left Pepper drifting around the corner quite nicely there. Taking a shot. One more shot. Romstar takes out Carl, but Tiger left Pepper finishes Romstar off as Doc jumps over the cliff and suicides. So, high right wheel stuff there.
Not as good.
Negatron, if you're watching, you might want to grab that drift. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, I was thinking about Draka's kind of suicide jump over. It's still not as good as what Game Over did during their match against TVD during the...
Yeah, I don't think anything can match that, though. All those T-54s just majestically full speed jumping off of that cliff. That was a sight to see. So, map 2, 2-0 to Clueless. Like I said, Ding just not able to do anything while being man down. Don't know yet if they're going to get that 7th player. So far, no one's showed up anywhere, so, I don't know yet.
Again, it was that tier 6 that really killed them this game. They had just had one if they could split their own tier 6 down to the southwest to deal with Clueless's, then it would have been a very different game.
Real smart out of Clueless using that T-37. You hate T-37s when there's situations like that because you can't ignore them because he's going to sit there and just chip and chip at you with those lightweights sitting up there at that hill trying to play aggressively tonight. The second the Ding back off, they're going to lose control of that hill. They're not going to get shots. They're going to be at a positional disadvantage. They can't even get tanks into the south late because the second, Clueless have that hill, they can get shots in the back there. But Clueless moving that T-37 down, they had to send a tank to get it, and being down that tier 6, they couldn't send another tank to deal with it. So they had to pull that T-54 away, which is exactly what Clueless wanted, and they were able to create that overmatch on the hill real easily. That's what you expect out of teams of this caliber, especially out of Clueless. Going to the Gold League, they obviously are very composed, and they did the very smart thing. They knew they had the overmatch, and they purposely exploited it. Let's go ahead and pull up stats, Matt. Why don't you go ahead and break it down?
All right, sure. I mean, Ding doing significantly better this game than last game. 4 guys over at about 1,500 damage or over. But again, just being that tier 6 down means that they didn't have enough damage and HP to really win that game. On the side of Clueless, Tigers, Love Pepper just carrying his team along with Honey Badger, both at around 2,400 and 2,300 damage respectively. And really, this is very expected damage for both teams, given how Clueless was a man up the whole time.
All right.
And I do want to say one thing though about Ding's defensive posturing. I think that being a tank down is absolutely horrible, but they definitely did the best that they could given that situation. Going up to the center like that, you saw in that first game too, going up to the center in the same way. I think it was probably the best play that they could make given that they were a tank down. because you want to make sure if you can still control the hill like they did the first game, you still have a legitimate shot at winning, even though you're down to tier 6.
The most alarming thing for me so far that I've seen isn't any of the play. We'll finish this point here in a minute. We are in battle, so why don't you go ahead and break down the lineups?
All right. So Ding on the offense now. 2 IS3s, 454 lightweights. No change to their lineup between attack and defense. Clueless, 2 IS3s, 454 lightweights, and now an AMX 12T instead of the T37 that Hoffer was playing earlier.
All right, how do you expect him using that 12T passive scouting 2-cap?
Yeah, he's gonna be in that bush, the one at H3, just being in that bush and just being able to watch there. I don't see him doing much else, at least at the beginning of the game.
Right. So, Ding being man down again are doing something a little bit alarming here. Actually, I don't think they realize what they're trying to do. These T54 is going to go for a cheeky pick here. Is there a gap there that I haven't seen? T1 Diabetic stopping, eating the first IS3 shell, but backing down. All these lightweights sitting over here in C2, maybe looking for a cheeky pick, trying to get some shots on the mid there. But Clueless recognizing that they're not going for the hill, they're taking up positions on the side, and the tanks of Ding are just scattering. Thing that's most alarming for me right now is being this tank down. I don't approve of Ding separating their tanks this much. If Clueless are in such a good position just to push these IS3s, and they're going to have minimal support with those rocks there. All the tanks down the island can't help those IS3s. They only have the support of that T54 up at A4. So very vulnerable stuff out of Ding here. So we'll see if Clueless recognizes that. The 12T, like you said, down there in that Hotel 3, Juliet 3 bush, just passive scouting and everything. And a couple lightweights out of Clueless are choosing to rotate south. So they're, either they haven't recognized it yet, or they're choosing just to ignore it and they're happy to go man on man, knowing they have that tank advantage.
I think it's coming down right now. Clueless is just recognizing that Ding is in the west. They know that the 2-cap is the only cap that they can logically go for now that they have got tanks on the hill to watch if Ding attempts to cross over to the eastern side. It's just overall smart play from Clueless, and just based off of reading the situation. I also want to mention, I think, Gordon
Freeman getting absolutely focused, and he's tracked in the open and gets finished off here by the IS-3 of Carl. Great shooting out of both those, that IS-3 and the T-54 of Baby Dragon. So Ding obviously man down again. Romstar taking damage from those tanks in the south. They haven't quite figured out where their 12T is. They haven't even been blind firing at it. So interesting stuff there. Ding just choosing to just spread out and try to get some picks, but so far not working in their favor. Real risky stuff out of Gordon Freeman there and didn't pay off. So you mentioned that, 2-cap being the really only option here for Ding. Provided they had another tier 6, do you really think the 1-cap is an option even then? At least in my experience, the 1-cap has never really been an option on this map.
You basically, to cap the 1-cap on this map, you have to take control of the center and you have to take control of the southeast quadrant of the map, none of which that Ding has. I think that they probably would not have been able to even flex over, simply because, again, they wouldn't be spotted as they're trying to flex over.
So Ding deciding to cut you off here for a second. Ding deciding to try to group up their forces and push hill. Tigerless Pepper's out of position over on the 1 line, so Ding actually have an even match right now.
The problem is that they don't have that tier 6 to spot.
Yeah, they didn't see him over there. 12T is shifting over to the 1-cap. Try to keep an eye on it. If Ding's going to have a chance, they need to, take this moment to push right now, and Deny just absolutely getting focused. Flash and trying to move in front. All of them just trying to push. They're trying to focus on Honey Badger, but the shots aren't connecting. Finally goes down. They're pushing up into the hill. They're going to try to take out T1 Diabetic, but they lose they lose Deny in the process. Taking a lot of damage. T1 Diabetic's getting focused. 12T going all the way around, and Clueless Ding just trying to hold out here. They're down HP. They brought it back. They're even on 8s, so the tier 6 is going to be coming into the fight here in a second. And down goes Stitch. Another tank goes down for Ding. It's down to 2 on 5. Sorry, the T1 12T coming in now. IS-3 of Carl pushing up onto the hill. He's going to look for Romstar. Or no, he's looking at Flashing. He takes a shot. High roll at 415. And Tigerless Pepper finishes him off just down to Romstar. And this round's going to go in favor of Clueless once again, 3-0.
Yeah, I think just now that the game's ended, I think that I just want to highlight really quickly. I think that Ding made one crucial error in that last game. They actually got very close to winning, I think. Given that Tiger's Love Pepper was out of the fight, their 12T was out of the fight, it was essentially a 5-on-5, and they did kind of get the jump on Clueless with that initial volley that they did as they were moving up. I think that the misplay that happened that game was actually leaving Stitch. If Stitch had gone up into the hill with the rest of his team instead of staying by the rock and getting essentially 3-on-1 by the other tanks of Clueless, I think that they could have actually, because they got T1 Diabetic, they got Honey Badger. So for a moment, Ding was relatively equal, and had Stitch gone up with the rest of them, he probably would not have gone down, and that may have opened up an opportunity for Ding to actually come back and win this.
Right. So scoreline 3-0 in favor of Clueless. Obviously, Ding, that other tank, it just kind of seems like they're just kind of playing disheartened. They're not really being optimistic. They're not even doing anything decisive. Which, when you're playing man down like this, in my opinion, that's what you have to do. You can't get away with this slow play. If you are playing a lesser team than Clueless, if you are playing, a Bronze League team or a very inexperienced team battle team, you could get away with 6 by slowing it down and them not knowing what to do. However, Clueless, being, a Gold League caliber team, obviously, are taking the time to slow it down, play on their terms, taking control of the map and getting the damage. And they're doing even trades at the worst. They're not letting Ding get free damage in, which is what they have to do. They have to get free damage, and they have to take out either, severely damage multiple tanks, so when they start a push, they have that HP lead to work with, or they Ding have to be decisive, group up their tanks, and do one thing, and hope that Clueless get a little bit sloppy and make the mistake of having gun separated, and they create that instant overmatch. But slow play like Ding's been going for just isn't working out. And Clueless is 2 rounds away from being the WGLNA Silver League championship team for the 2015-2016 season 1.
I mean, to be honest though, I think that this match, half the reason I personally think that Ding only has 6 players on right now, and that it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to pull a 7th relatively soon, is simply because both teams already made it into the Gold League, and at this point it's just a matter of who gets more gold at the end of the season.
Right. And, to me though, whether that be true or not, my biggest thing is being professional and keeping that professional attitude, because that's what you're going to have to take into the season next season. And only showing up with 6, speaks volumes for how that team operates, to any match. Even though this match may be meaningless, it's still a professional show of all your tanks and put your best effort forward, and this clearly isn't Ding's best effort. We've seen much better out of this. Real quickly, why don't you go ahead and break down the tanks?
Alright, basically the same lineups as last time. 2 IS-3s, 450 for lightweights on both sides, and then a single extra tier 6, the AMX-12T, on the side of Clueless, and he's going to the same bush that he started in last game. So this looks like a very, very identical opening from Clueless, but Ding's doing something a little bit different.
So Ding going for that early cheeky pick again, trying to find some shots down there from Charlie 3, but Clueless being a little bit wiser. Now all these tanks, they're already close for Ding, so maybe they're listening. That they grouped all their tanks together, and they're gonna go for something real cheeky here. Clueless not taking advantage of their vision. It's going to be down to T1 Diabetic to see if he spots. Nope, but he's going to get preoccupied with these IS-3s, which is exactly what Ding wants. They're drawing their attention. They're using some shells. And these 4 T-54s of Ding may get around here and catch a tank out. Ding just backing off a little bit. Clueless, 12 T's over in the 1 line where they're not, and they left this 7-8-9 line open. Obviously with Clueless controlling the hill, that caps out of the question. But they still don't have vision. They don't know if tanks are there, and they're getting distracted. And now the first volley comes out. Shots go on to Baby Dragon.
Flashman and Denny's got to move up too to make this work.
Yeah, they got to go up, but they've already lost so much HP. Such sloppy picks. Trying to go for Doc here, focusing him down to 500. Just exactly what they need. The IS-3's coming over, but all the tanks are already looking at these lightweights. The first tank goes down in favor of Ding, but Ronstar's going to be focused. He goes down. These IS-3s need to hurry up and get in here. In my opinion, these lightweights need to be pushing towards their IS-3s right now. They need to make this full loop circle connect. Getting the T-54 Baby Dragon, it's even on 8s. Stitch getting focused. Tigerless Pepper going down for Clueless. The IS-3's doing work here for Ding. Gordon Freeman getting focused. IS-3's putting in shots to T1 Diabetic. He's down to a 1-shot, but this round's likely over with these IS-3s not having enough HP to carry this. The 12T going around here. T1 Diabetic just trying to get safe to where he's not going to get picked off. Denai looking for shots, but getting focused. He's down to a 1-shotter. Flashing getting a shot off, but he's also a 1-shotter. And Carl's just going to come in here and clean this up. That was much better out of Ding, in my opinion. They gave themselves a chance. My biggest concern there was that those IS-3s just poked too early and took too much damage, and they weren't a threat. And they were not able to because they lost that HP, they had to sit further back, and they were further from those lightweights. They needed to wait and time that a little bit better so that they still had their HP when that push started, and they still gave themselves a chance. But instead, they had to hesitate. They waited 10 seconds. They missed out on 2 or 3 volleys that they could have gotten off. They had been in that more forward position earlier, but they obviously weren't able to do it because they lost too much HP. Matt, why don't you go ahead and break down stats for that game?
All right, sure. Again, pretty not expected damage, I'd say. I mean, both teams doing relatively. That was probably the closest match that we've seen, just HP wise. On the side of Ding, Flash and the Dendy, both with pretty good damage. On the side of Clueless, Carl and the IS-3 really holding up 2650 damage. And then Honey Badger, the IS-3, and then all the 54 lightweights just kind of trailing behind as they were the ones who kind of had to chase and make shots on the run, on the move against the 54 lightweights of Ding. I also want to highlight, I think that Ding, while it was the best shot that Ding had all series so far, I really think that Ding, screwed themselves up from the get-go just because they lost so much initial damage, initial HP on their IS-3s. If those IS-3s had that extra damage and they could move up at the same time as the 54 lightweights, they could have. They were about to create. They did create a 6-on-6 situation that completely negated the AMX 12T in the West, and that could have been enough to really win the Tier 8 battle, and then they could just clean up the 12T and win the series, win the game that way.
Yep. So the second map of the night is going to be Ghost Town. Obviously, it's a 4-0 scoreline right now in favor of Clueless, so they just need one round, and Clueless have defense first, I believe. So, tall task here for Ding. If they pull a round off, I'm going to be amazed. So, we'll have to see what happens here. While we're waiting for tank picks to go in, let's go ahead and talk about something a little bit unrelated. The EU Gold League finals, offline finals, are going to be this Saturday afternoon, I believe, starting at I believe it's 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. Eastern time. It could be a little bit earlier. I'm not sure the exact time, but around then. And that's going to be That's going to be the semifinal matchup of. Let me find that here. So it's going to be Team Supreme versus Penta and Rocks versus Virtus Pro. What do you think of those matchups? Who do you think is going to make it to the finals there?
I mean, it's got to be Rocks versus Virtus Pro. It's got to be Virtus Pro. I think that they are doing they're a little bit more shaky than they were in previous seasons, but I think that they can still pull it out, especially since Tornado Rocks is a new team. On the side of Penta versus Team Supreme, I think Team Supreme will make it to the finals, simply because Team Supreme is made up of, I believe, basically the who's who of EU server, having many members from the former team of School Bus that won their finals in previous seasons. And Penta is definitely, I mean, they're a good team, but they're definitely not at the level of Team Supreme.
Yeah, well, losing to Killzor to High Voltage, he was a big caller and a big presence over there. So I think losing him hurt a lot. So I think that'll be a good series to watch this weekend. So definitely tune in for that. All right. That being said, we are into our fifth and what could be final battle. Why don't you go ahead and break down the tanks?
All right, sure. For Ding on the offense, 2 AMX 5100s, 3 IS3s, and a 54 lightweight. On the side of Clueless on the defense, 2 5100s, 3 IS3s, a T32, and an FB304 Artie. Driven by Conky, who has been sitting out this entire series up until now.
He was complaining about connection issues early on there, but hopefully that got cleared up and he's able to play. That being said, he's also an Artie, so hopefully connection issues shouldn't affect him too much there. That being said, Clueless are on defense. They just need the 1 round and, potentially over $1,000 in in-game value going their way. The difference between first and second is about 20,000 gold, and obviously you get a type 59 for first place, which, if you look up those, they sell for a couple $100 easily right now. So, it's kind of, disappointing in my opinion.
Let's take a look at this. Hold on, Rockstar. Take a look at this.
Yeah.
Gordon Freeman coming in contact with Clueless right now.
He's getting absolutely focused. Down to 400. He's down to a 1-shot. All these tanks are holding up. They know these tanks are here, and they think Clueless or Ding think these tanks are on the corner. They're going to take a peek here. They're going to find Tigerless Pepper. Tigerless Pepper is in a world of hurt. He's going to go down just as Gordon Freeman goes down for Ding. These 2 IS3s are going to push around. Tigerless Pepper down to a 1-shot. They can't find the kill shot. Missing shots, hitting the fence, hitting Carl. Stitch getting focused. The 2 IS3s closing the trap for Clueless. And this is just going to be over real fast. Flashing getting focused. Down to 3 tanks. Tigerless Pepper managed to get out of there.
GG.
Flash and go down. Perfectly read by Clueless. Perfectly set up. Perfect counter for Ding here. Ding trying to go with something cheeky. Get on, find a weak side, overmatch. I think that Ding were hoping that they were going to have seen the semifinal match and seen their 1 cap and hope that Clueless set up for it and that they could exploit that, but obviously not happening. Bromstar getting focused, managing to get a kill of Baby Dragon, but he goes down. Ladies and gentlemen, Clueless are your WGLNA Silver League champions, so a huge congrats to them. Obviously, tonight, sadly, was no competition. I wish we could have brought you a closer game. But, when a team only shows up with 6, there's only so much that can happen there. Clueless, a team that when they have an advantage, they will do a very good job at exploiting it, putting their foot down and making sure they take the win. Not even a hint of slip-ups here. So that's obviously, in my mind, that's an alarm bell for Ding. Just because this match doesn't mean anything, obviously, so much outside of, the big difference in prizes. So you can argue that, but, I worry what's going to happen to Ding if they don't get a dream start in the Gold League. They go down a couple, and people carry these same attitudes for them. They don't show up to, after they start losing matches there, they get disheartened, and they stop showing up to that. Ding could be in a world of hurt next season, and that, I just feel it says a good bit about team personality there. Obviously, they've done very well this season. They made it to the semifinals, and they're going to the Gold League, so obviously they are capable. But Gold League is a mental, just like Silver League, but even more higher level. You're playing for money. It's a mental challenge on top of just a ability challenge, playing higher level teams. So, hopefully Ding, talks with their players, make some roster changes if they have to, and get straightened out for Gold League, because I'd hate to see them have a similar fate to some of the previous teams, such as Maple Freedom this last season, where they just could never really get going, and they just had too many problems. So overall, Matt, you have any final thoughts there?
I do agree with that being a little bit worrisome for Ding. I personally, though, am not as worried. I think that they're probably just taking it easy now. They're like, we're in the Gold League, it's fine. I just want to point out that I think that that last battle, actually before we started the match, I wanted to mention that I think if there was any map that Ding had a legitimate chance of taking a couple battles and perhaps drawing out the time so that they could get a 7th guy in on time, because apparently it seemed like he was supposed to come in but is late or something. because the attacking side on Ghost Town does have an advantage with either of the two caps points, but obviously Gordon Freeman and the rest of Ding just absolutely not expecting Clueless to be in the Southwest, like they were also were, and just it was just a steamroll after.
Yeah, so if they had that tier 6 and they went with the same play, the tier 6 would have been in front of that tier, the T54. The tier 6 absolutely would have gotten roasted, but they still would have had all their 8s, and they were in a decently strong position. But they lost that gun and they were down to 5 tanks all of a sudden, so it's a 7-on-5, and with all the guns of Clueless being right there was just nothing that Ding could do. So, just sadly not even giving themselves a chance from that moment on. It's a little bit disappointing. We're trying to see if Conky is out there for a quick post-game interview. Not sure if he is. Looks like he is here. Conky, so Silver League champions. Obviously a 5-0 win here. Mostly, you could probably credit that to Ding being down a tank. How do you feel? How's the team's spirits right now?
We honestly expected a real, I'm not gonna say real match, but more competitive from what we experienced with Ding earlier. I was having 500 plus ping most of the match. Well, all beforehand, so I just wanted to play Artie, so I got to play.
So you're playing even with a
Oh yeah, I was 500
multi-digit
ping
ping.
Artie.
Wow, and you still landed a couple. You got a kill there, didn't you? At the end there, you took out one of the 5100s, if I recall.
No, I hit a 54 and hit the 50 hundo.
Ah, okay, right on. So not too bad with that much ping, almost like you're playing from Brazil, like some of these other teams are. So now you know their pain.
Yeah.
So that being said, very decisive stuff. You guys feel that you are ready for the Gold League next season?
We can only hope.
Yeah, that's for certain. So you guys gonna be working a lot this off season, or are you guys gonna take it easy till next season starts up?
It's not gonna be easy. We got a lot of practice to go through. We've got some already scrims set up next week. There ain't no rest for the wicked.
Yeah, right on. That's a good attitude to take. All right, so we'll let you get out of here. Once again, well, let's see, Matt, you have any final questions for him?
Not really. I mean, we talked about your message for the fans in the last stream after you guys were officially crowned into the Gold League, so nothing too for me.
All right. Well, Conky, thank you for coming by. Obviously, congrats. We'll be looking forward to seeing you guys in the Gold League next season. All right, so that about does it for the stream, guys. Obviously, match over. Hopefully, me and Rev and Madmus can bring you some more matches soon. However, with it being the off season, I'm not sure what there'll be for us to bring you guys. So thank you for tuning in, watching the stream. It's been a real pleasure. Matt, you got any final words for the viewers out there?
I just want to say that this has been an incredibly close season. Aside from this 5-0 blowout, because Ding didn't have the right amount of players, all of these matches in the playoffs were 5-4s, 5-3s. Just a testament of how close the skill gap is between most of the teams in the Silver League at the moment, and how competitive it is.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
I was also going to say I wanted to also highlight that Pepper has been kind of silent in the stream.
He's been talking the entire time, that's why.
Wanted to make sure that he gets noticed as well, even though he hasn't done anything much today.
Pepper, any final thoughts here?
Would have been cool to see Ding NA with 7 guys, but besides that, it was fun. Great season. Thanks to Wargaming for letting people like us and Danger Claw stream. It's been great. Hopefully everyone else has enjoyed the stream so far of Bronze League and the Silver League playoffs.
Yep, been a real pleasure to watch. Rev, you've been real silent for most of the stream here. Obviously doing the camera work. Anything you want to get in here before we end it for the night? Yeah, fair enough.
Ditto.
Obviously, I'm really excited for next season. Personally, Danger Close, we're going through a lot of roster changes right now, working on retooling our roster, and right now I'm really excited for what we can do. A lot of new potential coming into the team. Next season, a couple Gold League teams coming down. A couple of them have disbanded, but there's a couple more coming down. A couple very good quality bronze teams coming up. And then there's definitely some bronze teams coming up which need to start putting some work in because they're going to be in for a very rude wake-up call. That being said, there's a core group of Silver League teams that are going to be back next, and all of them very, very good and very, very motivated to do well. So I'm looking forward to it. That does it for us. Thank you for watching the stream, guys, and thanks for stopping by.
Bye.